Hey guys, it's Robert here for Pensare Basketball as well as Basketball Zone. I'm here to break down the Raptors' loss, very surprising loss to the Detroit Pistons, 127-121, and here are my three takeaways. So my first takeaway is more an observation that the Raptors now move to 0-3 with Pascal Siakam in the lineup, and it's not always coming against good teams, and sometimes it's coming against downright awful teams like tonight. And it's hard to blame it on Siakam. I know a lot of fans will point to the fact that they're 0-3, and I guess I'm pointing it out too. I think it's hard to complain about a guy who does what he did tonight, right? I mean, what was the stat line? It was 25 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, shot an efficient percentage. I don't really care about box scores, guys. I think if you followed this channel long enough, you know that I don't care about raw box score numbers without context. And with context, he was a conduit for ball movement early in the first quarter. I think he played reasonably well. I liked what he provided. I think defensively, he's a little bit lost still. I think offensively, maybe there's a little bit too much ISO ball with him. But tonight, it sort of worked. It's just that the rest of the team just didn't seem to click. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that he and Scottie Barnes are an odd pairing. Like, I don't know if the Raptors necessarily knew going into this season that Scottie Barnes would be this NBA ready this quickly or this good this quickly, but it's not a surprise to me, at least, now watching how these two work on the court together, that Scottie's two worst scoring games have come in 2 of the 3 games that Siakam has played. He scored 11 points tonight. I think he had his first single digit output against the Brooklyn Nets, which was the first game that Siakam played. So his shot and touches go down as Siakam comes in. It's actually ironic because Scottie actually earlier this year started to remind me a lot of 2018, 2019 Spicy P in a lot of ways. I'm not, again, comparing, a fourth year, third year player to a first year player is different. And obviously, I think that Scottie has a much higher upside. I just think that these two guys occupy a lot of the same places on the court. They like to operate in a lot of the same ways. They have a lot of similar strengths, a lot of similar weaknesses, right, as players. And I think if you're the Raptors coaching staff, even if you might deem that these are 2 of your 3 to 4 best players, it might be one of those things where too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing, right? So you have these versatile forwards and they just don't seem to be meshing right now. Again, it's only been 3 games, right? With Siakam, it's only been 3 games. So let's give it some more time, but it's not hard. It's not hard to argue that this matchup, this pairing is a little bit awkward. Okay, on to my second point. The Pistons showed up. Now, I've watched a lot of Pistons games this year, guys. A lot. I've been obsessed with Cade Cunningham's lack of success, and I've been sort of tracking it, sort of understanding how this guy is doing what he's doing or not doing what he's doing. And I've followed Cade for a while, so I've been kind of curious, and it's become a sort of pastime of mine to watch Piston games. So this was by far the best Piston game or best Piston performance I've seen all season. So whether this was the Pistons getting one for their coach, who used to coach here a long time ago, or whether this was just the Pistons finding their groove after Cade Cunningham has come back from his foot injury, and they've just looked better. I don't think that their record is indicative of how bad they or how good they really are, because frankly they just move the ball better with Cade on the court. He's a good primary initiator is what I'll say. I mean, you might look at the numbers and say he's really struggling, but I would argue that most of the struggles have been really with the shot just not going down. But when he's been on the court, he's defended hard, he's rebounded well, he's passed the ball reasonably well, and he's just one of those guys that when he's on the court, there's a sort of steadying force, and I think you saw that tonight with how the Pistons moved the ball. Between he and Killian Hayes, they racked up a ton of assists. I think Killian had 10 assists tonight. This is probably Killian. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Pistons fan. If there are any Pistons fans, this might have been Killian Hayes' best game ever. I can't imagine what Motown Radio is going to sound like tomorrow, but it was just a gutsy win for the Pistons on the road. They really took it to the Raptors, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed with how Cade just took it at, frankly, an all-league defender like OG Anunoby, who's been a step slow this season, in my honest opinion. And, it was late. It was late in the game. High pressure situation. Cade did not look rattled. I think this was just a really good win for the Pistons. I think this was just, and who can forget Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew? How can we forget Beef Stew, right? He was awesome, right? He just punished the Raptors inside. They didn't have the size to match up with him. Obviously, Khem Birch first was coming off COVID. Now he's coming off that knee swelling. He might have come back a little too early. He didn't look like himself tonight. And he was really the only person who was big enough, strong enough, and had a low enough center of gravity to do anything about Stewart. And he just wasn't very effective tonight. So, yeah, the size is starting to become an issue. It seems like every single night the Raptors get torched in the paint. And as much as we can argue that 3 points are worth more than 2 points and, you'll give up something to get something, at this point, it seems like the Raptors are not really stopping very much and they're giving up just about everything that you can imagine. So I just don't like what the Raptors did tonight. And kudos to the Pistons. Great win on the road. My third takeaway tonight is that it seems to me, at least from watching this team, that the Raptors have some chemistry issues. Again, guys, I've watched a lot of Raptors basketball in my life. There are teams where you can just tell that the guys really like each other. And then there are teams you can tell where there's definitely something brewing underneath the surface. And it comes down to, do you give the ball up? Is there like a lack of trust that if I'm going to give you the ball, am I ever going to get it back? I think that, there are some unwilling passers on this team. And not all of them are on contract years, right? So Chris Boucher might be auditioning. Goran Dragic might be auditioning, right? These guys are both expiring next year. So, okay, you could imagine that they probably are feeling some pressure to put up the nice stats, which most people want to in their contract year. But Gary Trent, right? Gary Trent Jr. is an extremely unwilling passer. I can't tell you how many times this guy misses. We did a Raptors breakdown the last game, quarters 2 and 4 for Pensare Basketball. You can check it out. And it's a 45-minute video just outlining the good and bad of the Raptors offense. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it tonight as well. And really what it just comes down to is guys just not screening for each other, right? These soft screens, guys not communicating on defense. Guys, offense is trust. Defense is trust. Everything comes down to trust. I'm not hugging my man if I don't trust the rotation on defense. I'm not going to do that, right? And on offense, I'm not giving you the ball if I just believe that you're never going to pass back. I'm not running hard if I know for a fact that you're not going to pass it to me on the break. And it just seems like watching this team play is painful. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. I have to watch the games because I want to do these breakdowns. But I'm at a point right now where I'm struggling. I'm struggling to watch these games because it's just painful to watch a team play like this because, frankly, I haven't seen a college basketball team that's even reasonably good play this inefficiently on offense. It's cringy, right? It's just one guy comes up, takes a shot. Next guy comes up, passes once, tries to get it. Next guy takes a shot. It's just, there's not a lot of ball movement. I think the Raptors, if they do break down some game film, they should take some notes from the Detroit Pistons tonight because the Pistons really looked like a team that likes each other, like a team that has some leadership, like a team that's well coached. And honestly, tonight, Nick Nurse just got out coached. That's all I can say. You cannot blame Fred VanVleet being out because, frankly, Goran Dragic played amazing, and you got a lot of production from Delano Banton in the backup point guard role. Point guard was not the issue tonight. Efficiency, foul shooting, the terrible refereeing. I think these were all closer to the issue, but you had 2 players pick up technical fouls. That usually happens when you have some chemistry issues. It could also be that the referees were terrible tonight and the Raptors were just kind of crawling in quicksand playing 8-on-5. But I would argue that I have seen a little bit too much of this team not looking connected offensively and defensively. So I do wonder if there are some leadership issues, if the loss of someone like Kyle Lowry, who's a bit of a stabilizing veteran presence, you lose that. Guys don't end up on the same page. There's really no voice to listen to in that locker room other than the nurse. So I hope it gets better. When it comes to tonight, I don't think it can get worse. So that's my takeaway for the night. Leave a like, hit subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Have a good one, guys.